Welcome back, South Philly Sauce, an Audacy original, brought to you by 94 WIP and Jack Daniels. Al Morganti, Ashlyn, Sullivan here with you, and it is a type A person's dream when the NHL schedule comes out and you can plan your whole life. You can plan your whole year because we now know when the Flyers are playing, who they're playing, a lot of key matchups. So we're going to dive into it right away. The Flyers schedule coming out this week, starting in October. And the biggest takeaway to me, Al, which hasn't happened in a really long time, is the Flyers not playing in Philadelphia on Black Friday.
Yeah, that's awful. You can't complain, I guess, because the Eagles are playing. I don't know what time that game is.
3:00.
And I'm hoping that the Flyers game isn't at the same time,
Right.
because that's just it's a great date, and it was a great tradition that people had to go to that Black Friday game. It was like the hottest ticket of the year to try to get that ticket. So to me, it's really unfortunate that it didn't happen. I was wondering, but even if you try to play in the afternoon, the Eagles crowd gets in at 3 a.m. So it just caused all sorts of commotion. So it's just another in a long line of not just the Flyers, but every sport in America just, genuflecting to the NFL. You just can't do it. It's just too big. And it's pointless to complain because people will be happy that you get to see the Eagles, I guess, on Black Friday. I just thought it was a great thing to have. It went 20 years or whatever that they've been doing this thing, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really feel bad for a lot of kids went to that game, so it was a huge event that way. So there's a lot of pluses with the schedule, but that to me is a pretty big minus on the schedule. It was just a great tradition.
It was, and I think you look at pluses. There's some really key matchups at the end of the year. A minus is definitely how the Flyers start the season. It's been ever since I've worked here, it seems like the Flyers always start on the road, and that's one thing. But to start on the road against the reigning Stanley Cup champions is quite the bad hand.
I don't know. I like it. I mean, last year, remember Michkov? There was Michkov mania, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the team disappeared, right? They were out west it was like the season didn't start.
I know.
We were
so many late games to start the season. We're like, wow, this is really to get these out of the way.
So this time, you got a new coach coming in. You've got Michkov, all kinds of stuff going on with him, interest in him. Who knows what rookies are going to be here with the team this year? You've got Zegras. Then you start with the Stanley Cup champs. Yep, it's the Stanley Cup champs in Florida, then to start here of the season. But, man, I think if you want some pop at the beginning of your season, you want some eyeballs at the start of the season, I can't think of a better way to start. They play well against good teams. So you look at it, you've got Florida twice, you've got Winnipeg coming in, you got the really tough teams coming in. But if you're trying to beat the drum for the team, so to speak, starting early, man, there's going to be attention on those games. In the first place, just overall, the Stanley Cup champions, you're going to play them. A lot of times those teams kind of drag themselves into the battle, like from early in the year. So you can get a good feeling about your team right there. There's downside risk. Yep, there's downside risk for sure. But for me, to have attention on your team in the NHL in October, to have home games like that, and I think that first game is actually a holiday. Is that not Columbus Day? When they start on a Monday against Florida? Yeah, that's not a bad thing either. So I know I've been, on social media said, this is awful. How can they throw the Flyers against the Panthers? Well, I want the Flyers to play the Panthers early. I want a lot of attention early. I think 9 of the first 12 games are home. October is just filled with home games. So it's you pray for the good start, you hope for the good start, but certainly you want eyeballs on Zegras, the Michkov follow-up thing. Who knows what's going on with the goaltender? You've got even the Penguins coming in here. Maybe the last time that we see a Penguins team, with Sidney Crosby on it this season. So I'm like, I guess I'm a minority. I looked at that schedule and said, this is great. People are going to be paying attention to this team in October.
That's a great point, too. And some other things that I was looking at with just the schedule as a whole, it felt like last year we had so many back-to-backs. And the Flyers now, with one more back-to-back this season, they play 14 back-to-back games. They had 13 last season, a lot of Saturday games, 4 Sunday games, which is more than last season as well. But as a whole, we knew that with this Four Nations break and that the way that they were going to do this and they were going to revise the hockey schedule, it was just, frankly, you have to play more games in a shorter amount of time. But 14 back-to-backs is a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll learn about that. When back-to-back in the NHL, to me, means one big, huge thing. You got to have 2 goaltenders.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the goaltending situation is, start the season, early in the season. And that's an enormous difference in back-to-back games on how you come at teams when you go with your backup goaltender. You know, I've not broken it down to see if the other team's coming on back-to-back. And the one complaint about back-to-backs that you have in the East that sounds silly overall is, I mean, there's Jersey, there's Washington, even the Islanders, the Rangers. You know, if you're playing back-to-backs and you're in Edmonton, Calgary, Minnesota, Colorado, and you're trying, this is nothing. This is basically, you know, like going to the next town over to play a game. So I don't think that's. I'm hoping that the upgrade in goaltending, whatever it is, however it's settles out with who's 1, who's 2, whatever's there. I hope that's really is the change in back-to-back on what goes on. So, I mean, I even looked at that and said, everybody's got to do it, right? So no matter what, you're in the East, you're in an advantage situation on this thing. So they should be able to handle that, and we'll see what happens with each goaltender. I'm wondering if backup goaltenders don't look at the schedule the way we're looking at it and go, I can really show my stuff here. I've got a good chance to really make a name for myself right here in this game. So for every kind of downside to something, there's somebody looking at it and saying, that's my opportunity right there. So we'll see whoever it is. We don't even know. I mean, by November, we could be looking at the guy we thought was the number 1 goaltender, looking at the second half of the back-to-back. So we'll see what happens.
Another carousel. Love those. It's great for pre and post game shows because we talk.
It sure is. Yeah.
About this goaltending situation. And you did see at the end of the season, you see the Calder Trophy race and the Rookie of the Years and that race and have a matchup the last game of the season. That's pretty awesome in itself. That's going to be a great storyline. But Matvei Michkov is getting a ton of attention this offseason, and rightfully so. And when you talk to Flyers fans, this is still the number one thing they are excited about, which I was I wouldn't say surprised by, but I thought maybe with Zegras and the draft picks, like maybe some of the attention would come off Michkov, and it is definitely not.
No, and even when you look at Zegras or whoever they bring in, the first question is he going to play with Michkov, not on Michkov's line? How's he going to set up Michkov? How's it going to work this way? Is there going to be some chemistry here? And, they had their top 10 rookies or whatever it is. I mean, he's on every list right now, under 25 or whatever the NHL puts out. It's he's always there as like basically a young guns thing, like keep an eye on this. So he's and he seems to be generating a lot of interest worldwide in whatever's gone on. He's playing, summer hockey and all kinds of attention on that. And that's what I really like. I love the fact that this kid just loves to play. That just loves to play. Like yesterday, I'm looking on social media. You've got Connor McDavid and Draisaitl show up at a beer league game. It's like, just awesome stuff like that. Then you look and you see there's highlights of Michkov doing this and that somewhere else. So that's what you want. You want a guy that's completely bought into the sport. That's like that's everything to him. And I'm sure that this is a big year. He doesn't want to have any kind of drop off. And with the players that he brought in, we've got some center depth now. You've got another high risk player in Zegras, or a guy that got some real skills. We'll see what happens, but I'm sure he's really pumped up to start this season.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And I think he's pumped up to try some more Michigans. We knew that was coming with John Tortorella no longer being the coach, and I can't wait. I hope someone asks Coach Tocchet the first week of camp, like, what do you think about this? Like, how are you going to coach this? And I don't know if Rick Tocchet's going to let him loose or what, but I hope he does.
Yeah, I know it's really weird. Like just before that video came out of him scoring on a real easy Michigan, he he said, Ovechkin had criticized him last year for being a bit showboaty, which is ridiculous when it's Ovechkin saying it. But it's like he said, I'm done with that stuff. Not 48 hours later, I think, there's the video of him just easily throwing in a Michigan like a pitchfork goal. And it's like, you know what? He's not going to be done with this if the opportunity's there. And I texted Tocchet when he got here, when they got Zegras too. I sent him a text saying, I think he might be a lacrosse coach, not a hockey coach with these two guys here. And he just sent a ha-ha back. So we'll see. But I'm sure he's pretty good with young guys. He's pretty good energy coach. I'm sure if Michkov tries some of those dumb Michigans that he tried earlier in the year, it won't be great. But I am not worried about Rick Tocchet's reaction to this. I am, however, truly, truly worried for the mental health of one Scott Hartnell. If these two guys, because he sent me a puke emoji when I sent the thing about the Michigans. So
he is a hater.
So I'm really horrified that game one, this goes on, and we lose him off the rails, and he just goes full Ricky Batalico on everybody. On what's going to happen.
The rail was perfect. I hope we get him there.
Yeah, but it makes for great. When it scores 5-1 or something, it could be a whole hell of a lot of fun.
It is. I was in New York yesterday for the NHL broadcast boot camp. It's the second year they've put it on. It's a really cool event of getting alumni and players that are looking to the next steps of their career. So it's awesome the league does it and puts so much effort and time behind it. But I was paired with Jody Shelley for reporting. Oh my gosh, he was electric. He was such a cool person. But I got more questions about working with you and working with Scott over anything. And like, you guys are the stars of the show. And so many people were asking me about Scott's hair and what he's like. And I was like, I'm your assistant, I feel like, half the time.
No, he's like, it's a black. Jody's terrific.
He was so cool.
Oh no, he's he's really good at breaking down the game, and he makes it fun. And like, basically, when we come on, our main goal, obviously informative, but sports is fun. And like, if you can leave that game and it was a good game and you left and with something that we gave you something to smile about in that game, whether they won 5-1, lost 5-1, whatever, if we give you some knowledge, obviously, but then something to smile about, we did a good job. And you guys it's so easy because you laugh at yourself. So they're all smiling at the TV. That's
what they said. And yeah, Jody it was funny teaching these guys how to, our module was about ringside reporting and interviewing. And we would make them go up and interview each other. And it's so funny to watch a guy that has been so good at something for so long. And he's like, how do I hold the mic? Where do I put my hand? This feels weird. I don't know what's happening. It's like, wow, they're just like us sometimes.
Yeah, they are. Except they've got special talent that we don't.
That we will never have. And that is true. No. And that is South Philly Sauce and Audacy Original, brought to you by 94 WIP and Jack Daniels. We'll see you later next week.
Thanks.